thank you for the nice intro, Courtney. I really appreciate it. So Courtney kind of gave you a little bit of background about who I am, and I want to make sure that you have that, because I don't want you to be sitting there saying, well, who is this girl and why should I listen to her? Why is she qualified to tell me how to conquer the clock? But I've been an entertainment journalist for the last decade, which makes me feel really old, and now have my own platform, which is my own TV talk show, which is really exciting, premiering on June 13th, which Courtney said, so hopefully everybody will tune in. So I'm here today basically to talk a little bit about tips to really reach your dreams, reach your goals, really get to your fullest potential, and to conquer the clock, because we can't make an 8th day of the week, we can't add a 25th hour to the day, but what we can do is make the absolute best of the time that we can set aside for ourselves. So enough about me. I want to talk a little bit about all of you beautiful, powerful, strong women who are sitting in this room. I don't know you personally, but I do know that you are powerful and you are strong and you are beautiful. Because you're sitting here today, and you took time out of your day to be here because you've given yourself a gift, and that is a gift of love for yourself. And maybe it sounds a little bit cheesy, we don't want to be vain and conceited, but at the end of the day, you have to love yourself first and foremost. You have to be your biggest cheerleader, because if you don't believe in yourself and you don't set time aside for things like this, who will believe in you? Self-doubt is definitely a huge problem, and it's definitely a huge obstacle that stands in a lot of our ways. So give yourselves a round of applause just for the fact that you're sitting in these seats today. Okay, so I want to talk about some of the biggest obstacles, some of the biggest obstacles to really reaching our goals, and kind of give you ideas for, what you can do once you leave here, or, once you get bored of listening to me talk and you want to check your iPhone or your BlackBerry, but things that you can really do to kind of just, get past those impediments and those roadblocks. Now, I'm not a mom, but I'm sure that there are many moms in this audience. I'm not a mom yet, I should say. Getting married in October, so I guess I'm on my way. Thank you. But I do want to share something that a friend of mine and a mother shared with me, and she said, I just want to quote her exactly, because she left this message on my Facebook when I asked all of the fabulous women in my life, what are some of the things that you feel are challenges for you when it comes to really getting to that next level in your career, or in your personal life, or whatever it may be. And my friend Jamie Sullivan said, being a mother, I feel like I could move mountains if I didn't have the guilt and responsibility of my children. It is so hard to attain more, do more, build more professionally without sacrificing your children. And she is Mom of the Year, and she loves her children more, than anyone. But I thought it was an interesting thing just to kind of put out there, because I do know that when I talk to a lot of moms, that having children, obviously is a whole other full-time job. I mean, it's 5 full-time jobs rolled into one, in and of itself. So I want to make sure that I'm addressing, the single women who are in the audience, the married women who are in the audience, the women in the audience who are mothers, and really, just anyone that's trying to figure out how can I, better use my time. So I want to give you a couple tips of things that have worked for me throughout my career. I've been, like I said, an entertainment journalist for 10 years. My first job in journalism was actually in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I'm a Philly girl. In Bucks County, Pennsylvania, at the Intelligencer, which is a daily newspaper I'm not sure if anyone's familiar with. But I started here, and when I drove down from New York City, where I live now, and I saw that big "Welcome to Pennsylvania" sign, I felt really very much at home. So I just wanted to kind of give you my personal connection to the area. Okay, so the first thing is, being overwhelmed is such an easy thing to do. I mean, how many people are overwhelmed on a daily basis by their to-do list? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I know there's more of you that are overwhelmed than you're putting your hands up, but either way, I come from a big Italian family, hence why Courtney couldn't pronounce, well, she did pronounce my last name, Cassaseri, okay, but it's tough. And my dad, Frank Cassasari, or Big Frank as we would like to call him, he always recommends the salami method when you're feeling super stressed out and your to-do list is just, thicker than the Bible. Basically, if you go out to the store and you buy a pound of salami, they cut it real thin, and you have to just peel one layer at a time to make your sandwich. So he always tells me, it's not really what I want to hear at the time when I'm complaining, but he always tells me, just think about the salami method. You have to conquer one thing at a time. When you make your to-do list, not only should you be writing down the things that you need to accomplish, but you should also try to, say, okay, well, these are the things that absolutely, before I go to bed tonight, have to be done today. These are the things that could wait till tomorrow. These are things that maybe I don't have to think about for another month, but I'm going to put them on the list, and I'm just going to put, a little, smiley face next to them, or a little, whatever symbol you want to use, and that way they're on your list, but they're not pressing. So if you can prioritize, what needs to be done. So if you're trying to start your own business, or you're trying to, move into a different direction career-wise, or if you're trying to meet a nice man, whatever it might be, definitely listing your priorities and giving yourself a real deadline, like life or death deadline for each one is a good way to do it. Because then instead of having 25 things on your to-do list on a Wednesday, you really only have maybe, 5 that absolutely must get done that day. And it just seems like the mountain is a little bit smaller. So the salami method is my first thing. Second thing, fake it. I'm not giving you advice on how to spice up your sex life, okay? I'm talking about how you can act the part without maybe necessarily being there again. When I was a senior in college, I went to the George Washington University in Washington, D.C., and I was lucky enough to get an internship my last semester of my senior year at People magazine. I figured that it would probably be a lot of Xeroxing and fetching coffee for editors and that sort of thing. And then I found myself at the White House Correspondents' Dinner in the same dress I wore at my high school senior prom. So I was a little bit intimidated. Nobody really needed to know that I was heading to a fraternity party afterwards. I figured I would probably be shadowing some of the editors, and all of a sudden, here comes a big group of celebrities, Jerry Springer, Jason Priestley, all sorts of different people, and this editor literally pushed me and said, go get interviews, I'll meet you later. I mean, there's paparazzi, the cameras are flashing. I was probably, 20 years old. Again, all I'm thinking about is, what guy I want to see later at the fraternity party. So here I am at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, and as it turned out, I ended up not really having a choice. I had to either act like it wasn't my first rodeo, or I was going to fail miserably and totally let all of these people down that were counting on me to grab these celebrity interviews. So somehow, I worked my way around, I interviewed quite a few people, and then at the end of the night, when I ended up upstairs with some of the editors, C-SPAN was on, and an interview that I had done prior with Colin Powell came on the TV in this bar upstairs, which was so crazy. So I tell this story because, we always think, oh, well, I'm not qualified to do that, or, I might not be good enough to do that. Like, why was I hired today to impart wisdom to all of you? I mean, I hope that I can, but you really have to kind of say to yourself, okay, well, I'm going to do my absolute best in this situation, and I'm just going to act like I belong. And in that sense, you can really accomplish a lot. And that applies to, again, everything that you're, working on. Even if you're gunning for, the next position at your company, and, you really want to get that promotion, start doing the things or attempting to do the things that the person above you is doing. You might not do them as good as that person, and, you might not be an ace at it, but at least you're making an effort, and at least you're, kind of faking, that you can do it, and then hopefully you'll get the job, and then you'll do it for real. So that's my second. Okay, third, pen to paper. I'm very, very old-fashioned. I actually just got an iPhone about 3 weeks ago. I had a BlackBerry before that, which there's nothing wrong with. But I really love the idea of sending handwritten thank you cards to people and just kind of doing things that don't really go along with this crazy social media, tech, like vibe that we're living in. I think of my old soul in a way. I mean, my name is Dorothy, so I do have kind of like an older person's name. I'm named after my grandmother, who I never had a chance to meet, so I feel like in a way that is part of the reason that I just love being old-fashioned about certain things. But I came up with this idea, well, I didn't come up with it, I'm sorry. Somebody mentioned this to me years back, and I was single at the time, living in New York, and it is exactly like Sex and the City, being single in New York. I mean, that show is no joke, because it's a jungle out there. And so after I was, dating one loser after the other, I decided that I had to... Yes, let's give it up for all the losers out there. I decided that I really had to kind of try a different approach. So everybody in this room has different beliefs. You believe in God, you believe in the universe, whatever it might be. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is, if you have so many thoughts in your mind swirling, goals, things you want to do, things you want to accomplish, ways that you want to be, things you want to do for your children, and you lay in bed at night and you think about them and you focus on them, that's great. And you're driving in the car, you're picking up your kids from daycare, and you're thinking about them, that's great too. But it becomes one kind of big swirl in your head. So what I did was I took a piece of, just like a little, piece of loose leaf or whatever, and I wrote down, and again, this is not a checklist, by the way, of the kind of guy that I was looking for, but I wrote down some of the qualities that I was looking for in a boyfriend or a partner. Not, must be 6 foot tall, must be 6 feet tall, must drive a Mercedes-Benz, nothing like that. It was more just certain, human qualities that I was really looking for that person to have, that all of the crazy idiots that I dated definitely didn't have. And I put this list down, I wrote this list down, and then on the bottom of it, I wrote a couple little, side notes about some career things that I wanted to do. At the time, I was doing a little bit of TV, but I really wanted to be working in TV full-time. It really brought me a lot of joy, and it really excited me. So I wrote, would like to be working full-time in television. And then my sister and I, we have a women's t-shirt company together called Biddle D, which is a combo of our nicknames, Little D and Big D. And I had some goals, for Biddle D as well, being that we were a brand new company. And I put it in my wallet. And from time to time I would look at it, and read it and think, this is kind of stupid. But in the end, after I met my fiance and we were in Turks and Caicos on our first vacation together, we were just, sitting at dinner, and this was, the part where we were comfortable together. And I started to tell him about this, little letter that I made, and I had it in Turks and Caicos in my wallet, and I pulled it out, and, he was kind of laughing at me, and I thought, for sure he's going to dump me when we get back to New York, because I seem like a crazy person. But this list really, he really did embody a lot of the things that were on this list. And then at the bottom of the list, for the thing that I had written about my career, I was currently working, doing all of the on-air appearances for In Touch Weekly. So it kind of, was it a strange coincidence? Yeah, maybe, I see some of you are a little bit skeptical. I kind of was too. But I just really believed in the power of really just putting those things and putting those wishes down on paper and keeping them on your person, at all times. So that, pen to paper, it's old-fashioned, but I really, really do believe in the power of it. So, don't